What if I told you that your favorite BTS member might not be as rich as you think in 2026? That the quietest one might actually be rolling in cash, while the one with the most screen time is surprisingly lower on the list? Yep, we're about to dive into one of the most jaw-dropping, wallet-busting revelations in BTS history, because this time, we're ranking every single member based on their 2026 income. Not popularity, not Instagram followers, just cold, hard cash. You think Jungkook's tattoo empire made him number one, or maybe Jimin's endless solo endorsements catapulted him to the top. Or could it be Jin with his business-savvy post-military moves? And let's not even start on Taehyung's luxury collaborations that make Paris Fashion Week look basic. Each member has carved their own empire outside the group, but who really cashed in the biggest? Who turned fame into fortune, and who shocked the world with a silent climb to the top? This isn't about flex. This is about how each member played their cards, built their brand, and made choices that changed their financial destiny in 2026. From real estate to royalties, from stock investments to streaming revenue, some names you expect, others you absolutely won't believe. So get ready to scream, gasp, and say, "What?" every few seconds, because the final name on this list, you won't see it coming. Stay tuned, because here comes the real countdown of BTS members ranked by their actual 2026 earnings. And trust me, once we hit number one, your jaw's gonna be on the floor. Are you ready? Let's begin. Number 7, J-Hope. Silent moves, loud paychecks. Who would have thought that the most humble and low-key member of BTS in 2026 would still be pocketing millions without constantly being in the headlines? That's right, Jung Hosek, aka J-Hope, comes in at number 7 on our list. And no, it's not because he isn't doing anything. In fact, it's the opposite. His wealth strategy? Work quietly, invest smartly, and let the money talk. And it's been talking, just not as loudly as others this year. Let's break it down. After completing his military service in early 2025, Hobie didn't come running back to the stage with flashy comebacks or viral TikToks. Instead, he played it smart, spending time restructuring his personal brand under the radar. While fans were wondering, where's Hobie, what they didn't know was he was building a long-term plan. He restructured Hope World, not just as a music concept, but as a business identity. He trademarked his brand internationally, filed rights over his iconic visuals, and subtly expanded into streetwear and eco-friendly fashion collaborations. But here's where it gets real. Unlike others banking on visibility, J-Hope leaned into exclusivity. 2026 saw the release of his limited edition fashion capsule with a Tokyo-based high fashion house, only available in select cities, Seoul, Paris, and Milan. The result? Each drop sold out in under 5 minutes. Estimated earnings from just that one collaboration? Over $3 million. Not to mention his smart move to license his music in several high-profile K-dramas and Netflix career originals. His track, Blue Side, originally underappreciated, was revived and used as the theme for a global tearjerker series. The royalties? Still pouring in. Add that to his passive income from real estate. Yes, Hobie owns not 1 but 3 properties in Gangnam alone, 2 of which are fully leased out to luxury boutique offices. And in case you're wondering, yes, that's legal money raining in while he sleeps. But why is he still at number 7? Simple. Hobie isn't chasing record-breaking endorsements this year. While he's certainly richer than ever, he took a step back from mainstream campaigns, choosing passion projects and long-term value over instant fame. He turned down a multi-million-dollar beverage sponsorship just because it didn't align with his vision. That's Hobie for you. Principled, intentional, and in control. And you know what? That kind of discipline makes him even more impressive. Emotionally, 2026 has been a reflective year for him. Fans noticed he's more reserved in interviews, more philosophical. In his Esquire career feature this year, he said something that hit different. Money is freedom, but time is peace. I'm choosing peace. That quote alone showed the kind of wealth mindset he's in, beyond money. J-Hope isn't trying to race to the top of the Forbes list, he's creating a life of freedom on his own terms. So, yes, he's number 7, not because he failed to keep up, but because he chose to move differently. And in a world where everyone's screaming for attention, Hobie's whisper of success is louder than most people's shout. He's not the richest member right now, but he's absolutely one of the most strategically wealthy, and 2027 could be his year to skyrocket. Number 6. Jin, post-military, pre-mogul. At number 6, we have the worldwide handsome himself, Kim Sok-jin. And let me tell you, Jin's financial story in 2026 is like the perfect K-drama plot twist. Calm on the surface, but underneath, absolute business warfare. He may not be the flashiest when it comes to brand deals or social media takeovers, but Jin's return from the military in 2024 marked the beginning of one of the most calculated wealth moves we've seen from a BTS member in years. Right after his discharge, most fans expected him to jump straight back into music or variety shows. But instead, Jin walked into boardrooms. He wasn't playing catch-up, he was planning domination. The man had been studying entrepreneurship during his service downtime. Yes, seriously, he took online business management courses through Yonsei's executive program, and he came out ready to flip the script. Let's start with his silent powerhouse move, his investment in food tech. You heard that right. Jin became an early investor in a Korean plant-based meat startup, and by 2026, the company went public on the Kosdaq, with Jin holding nearly 9% stake. That alone pushed his net worth up by $8 million in stock value. The kicker? He's not just a passive investor, he's the face of their global campaign in Japan and Singapore, where his image, charming, trustworthy, and slightly cheeky, is a perfect fit for their clean, health-forward image. Then there's Otsu Seijin, the restaurant brand he casually dropped back in the day as a joke about his dream of becoming a restaurateur. Guess what? It's real now. In 2026, Otsu Seijin operates 3 premium casual dining restaurants in Seoul, Busan, and Jeju, with international interest from Tokyo and LA. Each spot serves Korean comfort food with a gourmet twist, and they've become celebrity magnets, not just profitable, but culturally relevant. And if that wasn't enough, he owns partial rights to the franchise name, meaning every new location, more cash in his pocket. But wait, what about music? Jin hasn't left it behind, he's just made it work for him. His 2025 solo album, Astronaut's Return, didn't just chart, it sold out vinyl pressings in 21 countries, and the deluxe edition featuring handwritten notes became a collector's item. Only 777 were made. Each was sold for around $250, and guess who funded and retained the master rights independently? Yep. Jin. Jin also made a smart move in 2026 by acquiring a small but promising entertainment company, not to manage idols, but to manage influencers and drama soundtracks. His strategy? Capitalize on the rise of OST culture in K-dramas and create IPs that live long after the show ends. And this move alone is expected to yield high returns in 2027 and beyond. But even with all this, why is Jin only at number 6? Because while his business empire is blossoming, his annual liquid earnings are still catching up to some of the others on this list. He's building long-term wealth, not chasing the fastest bag. But emotionally, this is Jin in his most confident form. In his El Korea cover story this year, he said, "I used to just sing and hope people liked it. Now I ask, what do I want to build for the next 30 years? That's not just growth, that's legacy thinking." Jin's 2026 isn't the loudest, but it's strategic, it's smart, and it's setting him up for billionaire conversations by 2030 if he stays on this path. He's the member who matured most silently, turning military service into a financial reawakening. The smile's still there, but now it's got strategy behind it. Number 5. RM, the intellectual investor who outsmarted everyone. Kim Namjoon, aka RM, has always been known as the brain of BTS. But in 2026, that brain didn't just write lyrics, it built a financial fortress so clever, so understated, that most people didn't even realize how wealthy he'd quietly become. Coming in at number 5, RM's earnings aren't from the obvious. You won't find him chasing the most glamorous CF deals or popping up in every new brand campaign. Nope. RM made his fortune by doing what he does best: reading the room and the economy. Let's start with his biggest 2026 financial play: art investment and museum partnerships. RM didn't just collect art for his home walls, he flipped the entire industry dynamic. Earlier this year, he shocked everyone by becoming the youngest South Korean to be appointed as a board advisor to the National Museum of Modern and Contemporary Art. But that wasn't just a title. RM curated a traveling exhibition that showcased contemporary Korean artists abroad, in London, New York, and Berlin, and sponsored the entire tour through his privately funded foundation, Namjoon Art Future. The kicker? Every artist he featured gained explosive value, and RM owned early pieces from nearly all of them. His collection value? Estimated at $18 million and rising, up from just $5 million 2 years ago. But wait, he's not just an art guy. In 2026, RM launched Archive Note, a luxury editorial brand blending philosophy, travel, and design. Think of it like a hybrid between Kinfolk magazine, Patagonia, and Margiela. It sounds niche, but RM's fanbase, intellectuals, minimalists, and culturally curious millennials, ate it up. The brand sells limited drops of eco-conscious fashion, published essays, and even collectible leather-bound books. In under 6 months, Archive Note generated over $4 million in sales, and RM owns it independently. No label, no HYB connection. He even dropped a limited scent line called Forest Thoughts, which sold out in 15 minutes on launch day. Musically, 2026 was quiet for RM, but profitable. His 2022 solo album, Indigo, saw a revival thanks to being used as the background of an award-winning international indie film. Royalties from Still Life alone surged due to TikTok and Instagram Reels trends in Latin America and Southeast Asia. Meanwhile, he also licensed 3 unreleased songs to a major Apple TV Plus series set in Tokyo, earning over $1.2 million from music placement alone. And let's not forget his translation deal. RM wrote a bilingual philosophical diary titled Thoughts Before Dawn, published in Korean and English with distribution rights sold to HarperCollins Asia. It hit bestseller charts in South Korea and Taiwan. Here's the twist. Despite all of this, RM still stays away from flashy spending. No private jets, no gaudy watches. His most expensive purchase in 2026? A one-of-a-kind fountain pen used by a 20th century poet he idolizes. Price tag? A mere $12,000. His perspective on money is what sets him apart. In an interview with the New Yorker Korea, he said, "I don't want to buy the world. I want to understand it. And if wealth is a byproduct of understanding, so be it." So why is RM only number 5? Because although he's building massive long-term equity in art, literature, and niche fashion, he's reinvesting almost everything. He's playing the long game. His net worth is high, but his annual liquid income places him mid-tier among the members this year. He's richer than ever, but he's using that wealth to fuel culture, not just accumulate assets. RM is the kind of rich you only understand if you think 3 steps ahead. He's not chasing fame, but making legacy, one philosophical step at a time. Number 4. Suga, the producer king with global royalties. Min Yoongi, better known as Suga or August D, isn't the loudest. He doesn't dance the flashiest, doesn't post the most, and definitely doesn't chase clout. But don't be fooled. 2026 proved that power doesn't need a spotlight. Coming in at number 4 on this financial countdown, Suga's wealth is not just impressive, it's foundational. The kind of money that stacks while he sleeps, tours, and yes, even while he's off the grid. Suga's key weapon? Music production and ownership. And in 2026, that strategy matured into a money-printing machine. Over the last 5 years, Yoongi laid the groundwork for this exact moment, collecting producer credits, acquiring publishing rights, and crafting hits not just for himself or BTS, but for a roster of top-tier Korean and international artists. If you're vibing to a Korean chart topper in 2026, there's a good chance Suga is in the credits, silently earning from every stream, commercial sync, and performance. Let's break it down. In early 2026, he executive produced an album for a major Hybe sub-label rookie group that became the best-selling debut of the year. The royalty deal he signed? It gives him a cut from every sale, stream, and live performance involving that album's songs. That alone is estimated to bring in over $6 million annually. But the real shocker? He also co-produced 2 tracks for a U.S. rappers album, an artist signed under Roc Nation, which reached #1 on the Billboard 200. Global licensing of those tracks to Netflix, ESPN, and even the NBA Finals earned him another $2.5 million just in Q2 of 2026. And that's not all. Suga's genius move this year was to formally launch Genius Lab, a private production company that doesn't just make music, it owns the IP. He onboarded young producers, offered them fairer contracts, and started developing scores for films, dramas, and even high-end advertisements. His scoring of a Cannes-nominated Korean noir film alone boosted his brand into the international film scene. The soundtrack, minimalist and haunting, received massive acclaim and continues to stream worldwide on Spotify and Apple Music. On the solo side, his August D tour Requiem wrapped up in early 2026, selling out venues across Europe, North America, and South America, despite minimal promotion. Each show had limited merch drops featuring high-quality designs produced in collaboration with Japanese streetwear designer Shinsuke Takizawa. Every single piece gone in minutes. Revenue from that limited edition merch is reported to have crossed $4 million globally, with nearly 70% profit margins. What sets Yoongi apart is his ownership model. He's one of the few K-pop artists who aggressively negotiates to retain his masters. Even when working under Hybe, he's built clauses that protect his future earnings. This isn't just money today, it's money forever. In his Rolling Stone Korean interview this year, he said it best: "I'm not building hype, I'm building infrastructure. My future depends on trends, it depends on rights." And then there's his property game. Yoongi owns a studio complex in the upscale Hanam-dong area, not just for his use, but leased to other musicians and producers. He makes money while others rent his vision. And yes, he still lives modestly, prefers coffee shops over clubs, and writes most of his lyrics on the subway. Yes, that's still true. He's low profile, but high impact. So why is he #4, not higher? Because despite these massive revenues, Yoongi reinvests much of his profits back into the music ecosystem, funding young creators, buying new studio tech, and expanding Genius Lab internationally. He's not hoarding wealth, he's circulating it, seeding the next wave of global Korean music influence. That means his liquid cash isn't the highest this year, but his creative equity might be the most valuable of all. Yoongi didn't climb this list through fame, he did it through strategy, ownership, and genius. The quiet producer? He's laughing all the way to the bank.
Number 3, Jimin, the global brand darling with an emotional price tag. When it comes to turning charm into cash, no one in BTS plays the branding game quite like Park Jimin. In 2026, Jimin didn't just appear in ads, he became the ad. And that's exactly how he lands at number 3 on the salary ranking list, with jaw-dropping earnings from fashion, fragrance, and a few record-shattering personal projects that blurred the line between art and commerce. Let's start with the obvious: luxury endorsements. In 2026, Jimin cemented himself as the undisputed king of luxury brand deals. He renewed his historic contract with Dior, not just as a model, but as a co-creative contributor. That means his touch was on actual product design, especially in the Seraphim Sky capsule line that sold out worldwide within 3 hours. The perfume he co-designed under Dior Parfums, it became their best-selling unisex fragrance of the year, and yes, Jimin has a revenue-sharing clause. Just that deal alone brought in an estimated $10 million in 2026, and the fragrance continues to top charts in France, Japan, and Dubai. Then came Tiffany & Co., who didn't just use Jimin's face, they gave him a permanent feature line. The ethereal Bangtan collection, inspired by his love for soft, flowing lines and asymmetry, broke Asian luxury sales records. Every piece of the Jimin collection sold at 15 to 20% above average retail, and guess what? He gets a percentage of every sale worldwide. Add his appearances at the Met Gala and Paris Fashion Week, both of which exploded on social media, and you're looking at a brand value that practically prints money. But Jimin didn't stop at just wearing luxury. He built his own. In April 2026, he launched Mimi, his personal fashion and wellness label. Think pastel-toned loungewear, minimalist skincare, and ethically sourced fabrics. The launch campaign video, directed by a rising Korean filmmaker and narrated in Jimin's soft voice, went viral globally, earning over 70 million views in 48 hours. Within the first month, Mimi did $5.8 million in sales with a sell-through rate of 89%. Fans weren't just buying clothes, they were buying into Jimin's lifestyle. And the music? Jimin's 2026 solo comeback album, Phantom Bloom, broke every solo artist record BTS has ever set. It topped iTunes in 109 countries, hit #1 on the Billboard 200, and every single song charted on Spotify Global. He funded and co-produced the album himself under a new distribution deal that gave him 80% of profits. And he didn't do it alone. He brought in collaborators from The Weeknd's team and a surprise feature from Rosalia, giving the album an elegant, bilingual edge. The world responded with love, and Jimin responded with gratitude, and another $15 million in music revenue. But behind the glitz, 2026 was an emotional roller coaster for Jimin. In several interviews, he opened up about the pressure of being everyone's favorite face. In his emotional appearance on IU's Palette, he admitted that the constant pursuit of perfection in the luxury world had left him exhausted. He said, "People see me shining. They don't always see what it takes to stay that way." And when asked about the weight of expectations, he responded quietly, "It's not that I can't carry them. I just wish someone would sometimes carry me too." That emotional depth, it made fans love him even more, and it made brands even more eager to align with someone who felt real, vulnerable, and magnetic. Jimin's ability to balance global superstardom with heartfelt sincerity made him the perfect ambassador in an era where authenticity is currency. So why #3? With total earnings estimated well over $30 million this year, Jimin could have been #1, but he also gave up several high-paying offers in 2026 to take a mental health break mid-year. He walked away from a rumored $10 million beverage deal and delayed his global tour to focus on recovery. A bold, powerful move that showed he values peace over paychecks. Still, his influence in 2026 was unmatched, and his income, even with pauses, placed him solidly in the top 3. Jimin didn't just sell a product, he became the product. Beautiful, vulnerable, poetic, and, in 2026, unquestionably powerful. #2. Taeyong, the artful enigma turned business juggernaut. Kim Taeyong, the style icon, the soulful singer, the walking masterpiece. But in 2026, he's not just a face, he's a financial force. And if you're surprised to see him at #2, you're not alone. Because while everyone was busy praising his visuals and fashion sense, Taeyong was quietly crafting one of the most brilliant, creative, and profitable personal empires in BTS. The truth? Taeyong didn't just make money, he redefined how a K-pop idol builds wealth. So how did he do it? Let's start with what exploded in 2026. Levante, Taeyong's luxury lifestyle brand. A fusion of vintage Parisian aesthetics, modern Korean minimalism, and Taeyong's personal obsession with jazz, Levante launched with an immersive art and scent installation in Seoul that drew celebrities, fashion editors, and millions of online views. But it wasn't just for the art. Taeyong personally curated every product, from silk scarves to analog cameras, linen suits to vinyl players, and even the soundtrack playing in the store. This wasn't merch. This was experience economy, and fans and non-fans went feral. The brand made $12 million in revenue within the first 3 months alone. And the profit margin? Wildly high, because he owns the brand outright. And then came his art collaborations. In early 2026, The partnered with Louis Vuitton, not just as a model, but as a co-designer of their Noir Fantôme concept line.
Inspired by noir films, 1940s jazz clubs, and vintage Korean street fashion, the capsule drop sold out online in seconds and was resold for triple the price across Europe and Asia. Taeyang's share? Estimated to exceed $8 million, plus licensing bonuses. And he's got equity too, not just flat fees. He's the only Korean artist to hold partial creative IP rights over a Vuitton subline. Musically, his 2026 solo project, Tempo Noir, was less of a commercial album and more of a cinematic event. It was released with a 25-minute short film he directed, screened at the Berlin Film Festival to critical acclaim. The project went viral for its unconventional release strategy. He refused to stream it until 1 month after the film debuted, and still, once it hit Spotify, it cracked 100 million streams in 1 week. Why? Because people weren't just listening, they were feeling. The limited vinyls, signed in gold ink? All gone. The film rights sold to Criterion Korea for global distribution? Another $3 million check. But perhaps the most genius and emotionally layered part of Taeyang's 2026 rise was his move into property and wellness experiences. He quietly acquired a century-old villa in Tuscany, renovated it into an artist retreat named La Lune Blanche, and opened it to global creatives for residencies and exhibitions. Not only is it profitable as a boutique hospitality brand, but it's also becoming a cultural landmark. Taeyang doesn't just want wealth, he wants to leave behind a space where stories are born. That's legacy. That's power. Oh, and remember all those low-key photography projects he used to post on Weavers? In 2026, they became a hardcover collector's edition titled Still V, released through a Korean fine arts press with just 5,000 hand-numbered copies. The book became a global bestseller among art collectors and BTS fans alike. Each copy sold for nearly $250, and on resale markets, they've gone up to $2,000. Do the math. Still, amidst all this growth, Taeyang kept his emotional vulnerability open. In an intimate conversation with W Korea, he confessed, "I've always been afraid of being seen as only beautiful. So now, I create things that reflect who I am when no one's watching." It's that duality, mystery and intimacy, that made his brand explode. People don't just buy what Taeyang creates, they buy what he feels. So why isn't he number one? Because there's one member whose financial strategy in 2026 went beyond fame, fashion, and even fandom. Someone who shocked even the insiders. Who could possibly top Taeyang? Number 1. Jungkook, the unstoppable empire no one saw coming. And here we are, the top of the mountain, the name no one expected to sit at the peak of BTS's 2026 earnings list, Jungkook. That's right, the Golden Maknae, once known for just vocals, dance, and tattoos, is now officially the highest-earning BTS member of 2026. And how he got there? Not through just one thing. Jungkook's wealth in 2026 came from doing everything his way. Let's rewind a bit. Jungkook didn't come into 2026 with the quiet composure of a strategist. No, he stormed in like a typhoon. Fresh off his global Golden Evolution solo world tour, which raked in over $150 million globally, he wasn't just performing, he was producing, directing, and co-owning every inch of the tour. Most people missed this detail, but Jungkook negotiated a 50% ownership stake in the tour's production rights. That means ticket sales, streaming, merchandise, even documentary footage sales. Half of that profit was his. From just that tour, over $40 million flowed into his pocket. But he didn't stop at music. In 2026, Jungkook made a controversial, headline-grabbing move, launching his own multimedia agency, 7 Inc. A hybrid entertainment company, 7 Inc. doesn't just manage artists, it develops short films, AI-generated performances, virtual concerts, and original series. In the first quarter alone, his agency struck a deal with Disney Plus Korea to produce a limited series based on his song 3D, and he starred in the lead role. The licensing deal? Reported at $12 million up front, not counting future royalties. And yes, 7 Inc. already signed 2 major Korean influencers and an indie musician who went viral, adding even more revenue streams. Then came his most unexpected flex: tech investments. Quietly, Jungkook had been pouring funds into a Seoul-based AI voice cloning company. In June 2026, the company secured a major partnership with YouTube and Google Korea to offer voice synthesis for accessibility and entertainment content. Jungkook's early investment, roughly $2 million in 2023, is now estimated to be worth over $25 million. That alone would have placed him high, but there's more. And of course, there's his personal brand, and oh boy, it exploded this year. Jungkook partnered with Calvin Klein again, but this time not as a model. In 2026, he became a creative director for their Urban Youth line, a Gen Z-targeted luxury athleisure sub-brand. He helped design pieces that reflected Korean streetwear fused with New York boldness. The brand took off globally. The exclusive Jungkook XCK hoodie sold out in 76 countries in 2 days. He now owns partial equity in the line and receives royalties from every piece sold. But what shocked everyone? The tattoo licensing deal. In a never-before-seen move, Jungkook trademarked his actual tattoos as artistic IP. That's right, his arm sleeve, his hand art, even that iconic army tattoo, licensed to a luxury tattoo-inspired design company that produces skin-safe temporary body art, phone cases, and wearable ink tech. Kids in Tokyo, teens in Sao Paulo, dancers in London, they're all wearing Jungkook. And this move alone generated over $10 million in merch and licensing revenue. Yet for all his flash and empire building, Jungkook still gave fans those raw, emotional moments. On his 2026 documentary, Still Me, Still Golden, he broke down in tears when talking about fame. Sometimes I ask myself, what happens if I stop? If I rest? Do they still love me? That vulnerability made his success feel earned, real. He wasn't just rising, he was climbing, with every scar, every failure, every sleepless night spent perfecting choreography or building his empire from scratch. So why is Jungkook number one? Because in 2026, no one else matched his mix of creativity, control, scale, and vision. He didn't just make money, he turned every part of his life into a monetizable story. His body, his voice, his name, his art. He blurred the line between human and brand, and yet somehow stayed heartbreakingly human. Total estimated earnings this year, a staggering $52 million, and growing. He's not just the youngest, he's the most powerful. So, now that you've seen the full ranking, were you surprised? Which member's strategy inspired you the most? And do you think Jungkook will still be number one in 2027? Let us know in the comments, because the BTS financial race is just getting started. Empire, sayonara.